Everyone online says you need to scale with a course. And I say, sell the damn service. I'm Emily Williams, award-winning consultant and productized offer expert since 2014. And I'm here to help you work less, make more, and stop custom building your burnout. Each week, we talk strategy, structure, and the real stories behind sustainable service businesses. You know, from service providers who like doing service work, who want to stay in service work, but also just make more money. If you're ready for all that yapping, then let's dive in. Okay, I am someone who really needs to know what is the vibe of like the space I'm about to be in. And I feel like getting to hear from me and seeing my face and my tone of voice like sets the stage. And so
Mhm.
I'm glad that was helpful. I
Yeah.
sometimes forget that I have it as part of my like
That little
workflow.
funnel.
Yeah, yeah. So that's good. I'm glad you liked it. All right. Well, happy Monday. Did
I
you
know.
do anything exciting this weekend?
I did actually. I did a 5-kilometer walk. It's so interesting that you ask that.
I love that. Was it like a theme? Did we do some
Yeah,
of those here
so
and their
it's
theme?
one of our local football clubs, soccer
Yeah,
in
yeah,
the States. And they do this annual 10K run, but 10
yeah.
kilometers, not miles.
Right.
And my partner is training for his first marathon, so he did the running part, but then they
Hmm.
had a 5K walk for anyone else who isn't a runner, which is my case. So I did the walk instead. It was so cool. Like I
I
reached
was
the
this your
end
first time?
doing this 5K walk, yeah, but I've done the Camino de Santiago, so like the pilgrimage
Hmm.
down in Spain. I've done that
Yes.
twice and walked like 140 kilometers before. So it wasn't really about the distance, but it's been
Uh-huh.
so long since my last pilgrimage,
Yeah,
if you could call it that,
yeah.
that I just wanted like to walk. And I reached the end and I was like, I want more. Like, what do
I
you
did.
mean?
You're like
I'm
I did
done.
that. Did you? So here, when we do 5Ks, they typically come with a T-shirt and a medal.
Yeah, they
Did you?
did.
Okay, you got both
Uh-huh.
things. See, that is my only motivation for doing those things.
Little
I
trinkets.
I'm a trinket girly. I'm a merch girly. If you've got a cute T-shirt for your coffee shop, your sandwich shop, your gas station, I don't care what it is, I want it. And 5Ks are the best way for me to be like, I'm moving my body and I get merch.
Yeah,
So
no,
it's a win-win.
100%. And it's funny you should mention merch because I feel like two of my best crop sweaters, which is a format that I love
I love a
and
crop
not
sweater.
many brands sell. I don't know why. See, exactly.
What I'm wearing.
Um, Two of my favorite ones, and it's funny because they were sold by different service providers. Like they had a nice moment where they wanted their own merch. And they chose the exact same sweater, but like in different colors and it has a different embroidery on the side, and I just got both.
And you're like, this is my favorite style of
Yeah.
apparel. And so
I
I'm
think
going to need this.
one is like army green and says badass CEO, and the other one is like this dusty light pink and it says female founder. And I was like, they're both
I
perfect.
love
I
that.
can't choose.
I love that. I've had merch before in my business and brand. It's not something I've brought back, but so my girlfriends and I have a book club and we meet once a month.
Aw.
And I have been introducing, because I am who I am as a person, all of the crafts and activities in addition to reading the book and discussing the book. And so now started a couple months ago. You picked out your favorite sweatshirt and we pick a symbol from the book that we just read to embroider on the sleeves of the sweatshirt. And it's all the way upstairs, or I would show it to you, but it's like almost like tattoo sleeves of just like a little flower or like a throne or a key or whatever that like represents the
That.
book. And it is so fun. And so our next book club, we are making t-shirts. So one of my girlfriends has like the whole like Cricut machine and heat press and like all
Wow.
the things.
Okay.
But I'm making the designs because I'm really picky about what they look like.
Same.
And I'm like, "I'm gonna use your supplies, but I need to have creative direction on what this looks like." And so her and I now have a chat outside of the big group chat where I'm like, "What if we do this phrase and this saying?" And I'm so excited. And
Like,
we're just
this is going to be
making
the
all the things.
highlight of the
Mhm,
month.
mhm. Well, and, I promise we'll move on, but one of our girlfriends in this group is expecting, and we're hosting a baby shower for her,
Oh.
and the theme is baby's first book club for, like,
Oh.
the shower, and I'm so excited because I think there's gonna be merch. There has to be merch
No,
for
and
it.
it's going to be so cute.
Yeah, so we're doing that, and we have, like, a crafting date coming up soon to just make all of the things for
No,
the baby
honestly,
shower.
all of this is just a designer's dream come true. I wish I could join.
It is literally my favorite thing to do because 'cause I'm like, I am not a designer at all. I just know enough to
You
make
have the
some.
designer eye. Yeah.
Exactly. I went to art school, so, like, I know things. And so it's enough for me to be very picky about
Yeah, yeah.
what things look
It's a
like.
problem. Like that perfectionism, it hits you in all areas of life.
Yeah, yeah. But, it's gonna be really fun. So I need to take pictures of that and post it up because it's one of my favorite things. So, well,
Yes.
I'm so proud of you for doing a 5K. Are you gonna do any more this year? Is it cold where you're at right now, or is it warm?
It should be colder than it actually is. Like, in fairness, I'm kind of sweating right now, and I shouldn't be because it's almost November and this is not normal. I don't know what's going on.
Uh-huh.
I don't have any more planned for the rest of this year, but that just made me want to do another
Yeah,
pilgrimage and
yeah.
another Camino de Santiago. So I just need to
Yes.
convince people.
We're gonna be doing a 5K in a couple weeks. Our friends put one on every year, and then I did one last year, and I swore I wasn't gonna do it again this year, but talking about it makes me wanna redo it because it's a Christmas light one. You run through this arboretum, and so it's at dark through the woods, and it's just Christmas lights everywhere. And the stops where you can normally get water, you can get water, but then you can also get a cookie. And so it's very.
No, see, the theme just makes it all so much better.
Exactly, exactly, exactly. Well, I could definitely talk about hobbies, crafting, and 5Ks this entire episode, but I
Agreed.
do wanna dig into, something that you and I were talking about on Instagram that I think I'm really proud that this show and conversations are bringing me other service providers who are deeply passionate about being a service provider, and I feel like a lot of us in this industry, especially when we're looking to grow or scale, get swept into the non-service provider way of doing it.
Okay.
And we sometimes apply those strategies. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't in our own business. But I do think that this industry and the niche of being a done for you service provider has its own unique challenges, of course, but also like truly ways of growing and of scaling and of looking at growth and scale. And I know that you and your business has kind of evolved in how much you're kind of in the weeds with your clients,
Yeah.
and you've maybe changed that level over the course of the years. And I think we all experience that as service providers of like, I mean, I'll speak for myself, but there's definitely a time where I was like, if you all email me one more time, I am going to lose my mind.
That's like the most relatable feeling ever. And I think that as service providers, we often forget, especially because of social media and all the marketing content that we are consuming and trying to learn from, that we're
Mhm.
here to provide a service.
Serve,
Uh, yeah, yeah,
serve.
yeah, exactly.
Mhm,
Even more than selling an offer, which is
mm,
important, of course. It's a business. We were here to make money.
for
But
sure.
overselling an offer is delivering the actual service that you said you're going to deliver.
This is my
And
platform. This is my platform.
see, and I think that, like, I, for one, I love marketing. I feel like
Yes,
marketing is fascinating. I love
yes.
creating content, which not many people do at this point, because it just pushes that creativity and makes me want to have ideas that are outside the box and different ways to promote the things that I love doing, which are my services. But I feel like sometimes we get so much in the wheel of consuming that marketing content and trying to figure out what other people are doing. What are their strategies? Why are they talking about things in this order? They have stories and then they, I don't know,
They reverse
repurpose that.
engineer every
Yeah, we try
w
and exactly reverse engineer, like you were saying, everything. And we kind of
Mhm.
forget to have fun with our own stuff. And we
Yes.
put our own stuff in the background. And it's so easy to let what other people are doing dictate what you think you should be doing. And that whole thing just almost ruins it, because then you get to this point a few years into your business and you forget why you even started in the first
What the
place.
whole point is. Yeah. I mean, I've told this story a lot. I wrote in an email and a Substack post recently, really diving into more of a little bit more of the emotional side of it. But I was a service provider. That's how I started my business, is how I grew my business. And then, like kind of what I alluded to, it's about 5 years in where I was like, if I have to edit one more photo, if I have to email for one more revision, like I think I might throw my computer across the room. I can't do it anymore. And so my little inexperienced baby business brain was like, well, clearly then offering a service is not what you should be
For me.
doing for
Hmm.
me. Right. And so I drastically pivoted my business. And I mean, I both financially lost and gained from that. So, like, there's nuances for sure. But I didn't look at it as this problem that I could fix, that it was an opportunity to, I don't know, better communicate boundaries or expectations or set up systems. And of course, that's the conversation I have with my clients now. But I'd love to hear kind of how that's rolled out for you over the years that you've been in business. When have you been at that moment where you're like, I can't do it anymore? And have you eliminated it, or did you remedy it in another way?
Yeah, I think it's just a matter of finding your own way instead of like trying to listen to all of these different voices that are trying to
Mhm.
tell you this is the right way to do things. The number one thing that you're missing, the reason why nothing is working. Like, no,
Yeah.
stop. Just don't. um, and I think it's really natural for when we first start our business and we're just kind of like future proofing the whole services, what we're offering. We
Yeah.
just want to make sure that people on the other side, one, get it, two, buy it, and that we're happy doing all of it. And so it's natural for things to be kind of messy in the beginning. That's the way it is. Uh,
Yep.
Definitely had a lot of moments where my inbox was just so overflowing with emails, which is a good problem to have. Like,
I
better to
know.
be overflowing
Mhm.
than complete crickets and silence, because I've been there too. Uh,
Yep.
and you feel like you can't do it. And you start, especially in the, I think this is perhaps particularly present in the design industry. It feels like the one way to do things is to start hiring more designers, create a studio, and suddenly you kind of stop being the designer, which is what made you start the business in the first place, and you start being a team manager and you're just managing lots of different other designers. Really creative, really good professionals, but now you're not the one doing the work that you actually like doing. And from the very early stages of my business, I knew that that point was for sure where I did not want to go, because
Mhm.
I'm not interested in
Being an
stop.
agency founder. Right.
Yeah, and not designing anymore. Like, that's the bit that I actually love doing. It's not the onboarding, it's not the client calls, although I love my clients, but
Mhm.
it's the bit where I usually joke around in my dark corner with
Yeah.
Illustrator and like a bajillion cups of coffee and just like
Yep.
super
And
zoned in
making
and
magic
focus.
happen. Yep.
Exactly. And so to not have that would just defeat the purpose of creating my own business in the first place. Um, so I started learning more about systems and automations that I could implement in my own business that removed some of the workload off of me and kind of automated things where they could be automated without there being the need for someone else to come in to take care of those tasks. And I found out I'm addicted to tech. I've
Same.
probably experimented every single CRM there is under
Yep.
this earth, and came around with finding a system with like a couple of tools that work together and do what I need to get done in the
Yep.
way that I like doing, because I like
Yeah.
having like a little bit of control into things, especially in how things look, because I'm a designer. So for that, there needs to be specific tools into play, which is not a system that everyone's going to use, and that's
That's
fine. Like,
fine. Yeah.
yeah.
What is your tech stack right now?
So the automations and systems, it's pretty much for the onboarding, offboarding part. Like the middle and the meat of the project is
Is
so
doing.
different. Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's just me doing the thing. But using Google Workspace to its maximum is my love
Mm.
language. Cause like I'm paying for that for my domain. So meetings are in Google Meet and not Zoom. And I'm using the email templates inside of Gmail to make the email writing a little bit easier. Then I also use Notion a ton to deploy certain emails as well, with
Mhm.
like the buttons and things. Google Drive for literally every single file that I deliver.
Yep.
And I like pretty much Google and Notion is powering my business.
I love that. See, mine is Google and Airtable. It's the exact
Yeah.
same thing, just utilizing Airtable. Notion, for some reason, does not work for my brain. Like, I don't know why. Maybe because you're a designer, I think maybe it works. Like, it feels I don't know, it
Too
feels very
open.
yeah, it
Yeah.
feels too open-ended, and it feel like I need a little bit more structure, and it feels like I'm coding every single page where I have to,
Yeah.
like, design every single page to work for me, and I it doesn't work, but I love to see other people's notions and to see how that, like, interacts and connects, and to me and I mean, I know that Notion and Airtable girlies are probably rolling their eyes. To me, Notion and Airtable are very interchangeable if you're using Google Workspace in
Yeah.
addition to that and
A little
housing
bit of
that
Zapier in there as well, just
exactly,
to make
yeah.
sure.
Like, make it all connect, yeah.
Yeah.
One of the things that you said that I really, really wanna make sure that people are listening and hearing, and I wanna dive into this a little bit more because I feel like this has kind of been my subset of my platform over the past couple weeks. I've been having the conversation about, like, don't worry about building a 500K business if you haven't even reached 100K or whatever. And I know that a lot of that rhetoric is because of the like online marketing, one to many courses, low price, digital offers, whatever, whatever. But you said something about um, you knew you didn't want to build an agency because you wanted to be in the weeds doing the design work because that is the reason why you started your business. And I think that that conversation right there I think and I do see tides changing, but I think for a very long time I've been in this space for about 14 years. I don't know how long you've been in this space, but, trends have come and gone and rhetoric has changed and died down, but I think a common theme up until recently has been if you are starting a business, it's business first and everything else second. Business
Mm.
first, meaning how much money can you make? How easy can you make the business? How much can you pull yourself out of the business? And if you're not doing those things, then you're not running a business. You're just getting paid to do your craft, which is kind of like the point, in
Point.
my opinion. So what is that? Let's dig into that a little bit more. What does that really mean to you and does it impact how you do business?
Yeah, I think we just are learning that work-life balance on one hand does not exist. Like it's never
Uh-huh.
anything is never going to be 100% balanced. There's just going to be times where if you imagine that scale, like a week is going to be more tilted one way and the next the other way, and that's how the balance happens. But that as a business owner, I think it's completely normal, especially in those first few years of business, to view your business as your baby. And so you want to give it your all of your time, all of your attention, all of your mental capacity,
Yep.
everything that you've got. But there comes a point where the business naturally grows and kind of finds its own way. And so it's not that you can pull yourself out of the business, but the business stands a little bit better without you having to put on so many hours. However, and everything makes sense on all its own. I don't think you need to optimize every single little detail of your business to the point where it doesn't matter if you're there or not. Because especially if you're building, like myself, I'm a designer. I've been in this for like 6 years. I've built a personal brand. It's just me. It's a one woman show. There's no one else. there's a developer who does the developing of my websites, but he's not active
Right.
or present or doesn't
Right.
show his face. Um, and so if you are optimizing every single little detail of your business and removing yourself from that business, then you're leaving your audience without a reason to buy into your brand in the first place because it's a personal brand. So I want to see the person behind the brand and I want to know why I should work with you versus another service provider. It's like there's so many similar offers out there, and that's okay. We don't have to all reinvent the wheel.
Mhm.
So the reason why I work with a copywriter instead of someone else is because I identify and I relate more to that person and to their process and the way they think about things and the way they share stories. So if then I come and invest in that person and that person is so fully removed that I almost don't talk to them, then I
Yeah.
feel like I've been ripped off.
Yeah. Yes. I think that for some reason, I think the business platform of the marketing and business and growth and scaling has been really geared the last decade or so to trying to like cosplay big corporations when we're running these small businesses. Um, yeah, the founder of, Coca-Cola or Amazon or Target, they they treat and run their business differently than the businesses that we are creating. For that founder to be in the weeds and doing the actual delivery doesn't make sense. They are building an enterprise, right? Even larger, agencies, if you want to look at well-known marketing agencies, design agencies in metropolitan areas, they sure maybe started as a very small firm, but if they had the intention of scaling and growing like that, they're looking at business differently. You don't have to model your business off of that if that's not where you want to end up. And I think that 99% of us don't care to end up there.
Yeah.
And yet we're sitting here being like, "But I'm still checking every email. I'm still responding to every client thing." And if that's not your jam, sure, let's get an assistant in there and like figure that out. But that's also kind of part of it.
Yeah, and it's such a great detail that you mentioned there about us wanting to almost imitate the way that big corporations do things because that's our model of success. Most of us don't even have fellow entrepreneurs in our friends and family circle. So who
Right.
else would we be looking at except for fellow service providers on Instagram who are
Yeah.
doing similar things to us and then the big guns in the industry. And the way that I see it, it's even down to the visual identity, which is what I work with every day. Like there are so many smaller brands, fellow one woman shows who want logos or visual systems to be like the big guys, but then
Yeah.
they don't have the marketing team or like the time and capacity to implement those systems. Cause yeah, you know the Coca-Cola logo. Everyone knows that. It's very recognizable. It's just kind of like the Apple logo is very recognizable. But the whole visual identity behind those brands is so dense and every little detail is so meticulously planned that there's no way on earth that those types of visual strategies are going to work for your business. Just like not every business's logo is going to have like such a unique symbol like the Apple's apple or
Right.
the Nike's swoosh. Like, it doesn't make sense for a smaller brand who doesn't have or hasn't carved that space in their industry yet to have such a minimal symbol as the whole thing because
Right.
no one's going to relate to it. And it's
No.
the same thing with the way that we do things and the processes that we use. We just can't look at corporations and businesses who are at a point where we don't want to end up at as
Mhm.
the model for how we do things.
Right, right. It literally doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm sitting here thinking, especially as if, 2 art school kids looking at business, if I look at this from the art school lens, like,
Oh
I'm
boy.
getting paid I'm getting paid to do my art. I'm a paid artist. I've built a business where I consistently get paid to get to be an artist, and maybe you guys, not everyone listening went to art school. Maybe you perfected the craft of whatever it is that you're doing behind the scenes. But if you are in, especially an artistic service medium,
Mhm.
copywriting, design,
Photography, yep.
photography, exactly. There are so many elements there that I think for probably when you were younger, you never thought you would get paid to do. And your other option, other than what you're doing right now, is to do it in an agency model where you are an employee and you have decided for whatever reasons that's not the life that you want and you're doing it yourself. If you've created a business that up until this point is getting clients and you are getting money for you to do your art thing, isn't that the point?
Like, haven't you already succeeded? And I would bet that most of those people maybe like I think most of us have tried the agency lifestyle or tried the in-house designer lifestyle and jumped that ship because it wasn't
Right.
serving us, yeah, for one reason or another. And I think one of the main reasons is that because we fell in love with the craft itself, sometimes when you work for someone else or someone else's business, you can't do your own craft the way that you like
You
doing
want to.
it.
Mhm.
Exactly. It's
Mhm.
either like you can't explore your own style, you can't learn new skills to further that style, you can't pick and choose the clients you work with. The project process doesn't accommodate to your type of creative thinking. And so that's why you end up doing your own thing. And so, if you end up doing your own thing for those reasons, why try to then again model your processes off of someone else again? Like
Yep.
it
Yep.
it doesn't connect.
It doesn't connect, and that was one of the oopsies that I learned when so at my previous company, I co-founded a pretty large marketing and education firm, and we had employees, we worked with lots of clients, we were doing, design, website, copywriting, and also strategy education, like a whole slew of things,
All the
and I
things.
remember waking up one day and being like, "Wait a minute. Like, I invented this job, this role. I invented all the rules and I wrote the manual and the handbook of what it's like to work here and be a part of this ecosystem. And why is there a second of my day where I'm doing something that is corporate-y that I don't wanna do? Like, why am I having to do, 60-day, 90-day, quarterly reviews and one-on-one stand-ups with my team? Like, that sounds miserable
Terrible.
as a corporate girly, let alone, like, why would I make that why? Why
Yeah,
would I
no, I
make
that's
that a part of my life?
100% hear you.
Mhm.
Yeah. And like I was only in the corporate world for 2 months, so I'm not
I
at
love that
all
for
an
you.
expert on this. Like I literally quit on Christmas Eve as a gift from me to me. That's all you need
Listen,
to know,
I
basically.
love that.
Yeah. And I think that, like, thinking of my own industry as a designer, it's so interesting to see how there are certain specific things that even someone who has barely been in the corporate world tries to imitate from like the very professional email writing and because like you can't be yourself so you have to go
Uh-huh.
with best regards at the end of the email, like who says that in real life?
Kindly.
Like no one does that, let's just say that. Down to seeing people starting to sell certain services in certain packaged ways and feeling like, oh, then I have to do it that way. And I felt that a lot as a designer. Like suddenly everyone was doing VIP weeks. Suddenly
Mhm.
everyone was selling their own how to grow your design practice course. And I was like, I'm here to just be a designer. I don't want to teach other people how to be designers. I don't want to manage other designers. I just want to design for other people who can't design for themselves. Is this that hard right now?
Yes, yes. Well, and I think the subset of this conversation is and I was complaining about this with a friend of mine on on another podcast, where I also feel like a lot of people have gotten so I mean, subconsciously so connected to building a seven-figure business and having a seven-figure funnel and doing a seven-figure launch and having all of these accolades that get them to that level. I'm not saying those things are bad. I love those things. I've reached those milestones. They're really, really cool. And I also really want you to be honest with yourself if that's something that you actually want. Because if we're talking about it in the space of getting paid for your art or your creativity or your task or how your brain works or whatever, and your financial needs are met, like we're past this point, right? We're having the conversation of abundance, right? We've met all those. Exactly. This is extra. Um, Once you know, like, your own financial goals and if your business is feeding into that, like, isn't that also the point of, like, just getting paid well to do what it is that you're doing? And as the economy shifts, as your skill shifts, as your audience that you're serving maybe matures, then that price point can also mature with you. But that's kind of like the process of being in business. There is a certain level that you'll reach, and then you can decide, do I want to scale past this? And what needs to happen in order for that to unfold? I think so many people are looking at business year 1 and being like, "Okay, how can I have business year 10 right now? What
Hmm.
do I need to be setting up right now in order to make sure I get that?" And that's
Yeah.
not how that works.
Yeah, 100%. There are things that just come with time, and that's really hard to reconcile with the social media and online presence that constantly tells us that we need instant results. Like, if this isn't working right now, something needs to change. And sometimes that something is just time, and you're
Time.
just learning through doing, and there's no
Yeah.
other way around it. Like,
Yep.
it's not like you have to be either one of the starving artists who, but if you get money, that means you're being a sellout and you're not a true artist. Neither you need to be this corporate Mongol and have
Right.
like $1 billion corporation, and that's the only way to be successful. Like, can you imagine the amount of gray shades that are
And
in between
everything in the
these?
middle. This is what I went on this rampage a couple years ago where I was like, y'all, like, first of all, are worrying about seven-figure businesses when you haven't reached 100K. Okay, first, that's the first problem. The second problem is you're telling me that if your like little design agency or firm or boutique or whatever it is that you've got set up, if it was bringing in 300,000, 400,000, that you wouldn't absolutely like do cartwheels down the street because that is an incredible milestone. There are so many hundreds of thousands in between
Hmm.
$1,000,000 and now.
Yeah,
And
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 and I think like even realizing in how many different aspects your reality is different from this other person that you're comparing yourself with. Like,
yeah,
I'm over here in Portugal where minimum wage isn't even close to 1,000 euros per month. So
right, right.
for me to live in Portugal as a Portuguese woman looks a lot different than for someone else to live like in New York. So our
Exactly.
goals are going to be different. If you
Yes.
have children, that's going to be different. If you have a mortgage, that's going to be different. Like, there's so many personal life aspects that then
Yes.
influence how you manage your own business, because your business is a personal one and not a big corporation. So like, again, the
Yeah.
dots just don't connect the way
Yeah.
that you think they should.
Yep. Well, and I've been as a overachiever, high achiever, perfectionist,
Ambitious.
all the things. I tend, if I'm going to pour my time and energy into trying something, it's because I've spent months if not years researching that thing so
Mhm.
that when I am trying it, I'm really good at it. Um it's just how I operate. And so knowing that I am that way, I have been very connected to the idea of exponential growth.
Mhm.
And you double year over year and you see this amount of trajectory and you 5x 10x whatever metric that you care about in your business. And I was having a conversation with someone recently because I was putting the self-imposed pressure on myself of having exponential growth, and they were like, that you could just like not do that, right? Like you can just like exist in business and like hit the things that you've already been doing, and that is really phenomenal, right?
Yeah. I always think like when I first started my own business, I remember reading this statistic that most businesses don't make it to
Yep.
5 years. And
Yep.
so for like that was my motivation. For the
Uh-huh.
first 5 years in business, I just need to make it. It doesn't mean
Be
turning a
here.
profit. It
Right.
doesn't mean not having like 0 months. It just means after 5 years, I'm still doing this, whatever that looks like. So the fact that I'm 6 years in and
Yeah.
here is already a win.
Yes.
Doesn't matter what the numbers look like, not the
Mhm.
followers, not the amount in my bank account, which is a lot different from the revenue that a business actually turns, but that's a whole other conversation. Not like there's not a single number that was my goal in the beginning. My goal was just to exist. So I've already won. Like
I
when I
love
was in that
that.
corporate internship, I was making, and like I don't have a single tattoo, but if I were to make one, this would be it. I was making, kid you not, €3 and 60 cents an hour. I was working at a marketing department at a five-star hotel where an orange juice was €4.
Yep.
So I wasn't
Yep.
making an orange
You
juice
couldn't
an
even
hour.
afford an orange juice at the
Okay.
place that you were.
So anything above this is a
That's
win.
great.
Exactly.
I think that that's a really good exercise for us all to do today is really, really think about, and I'm asking my clients all the time, like, what's your hourly rate? Oh, is this package profitable? How much time are you spending in delivery? Where can we button that up so that you can keep more of the profits, right? I've been for the past 2 to 3 years really, really focused on profit heavy
Hmm.
businesses instead of just like sexy revenue numbers. And so I chat that out with the clients that I work with. And maybe that's an exercise y'all could do today is figure out truly like in comparison how much are you making in comparison to your first job, to your last job,
To
to
your country's minimum wage.
your country's well, don't look at ours. It's not great.
I have no idea, like zero reference.
It's not great. It hasn't been raised in forever. But go look at your title of where you think you would go apply for a job and how
Hmm.
much do you think you would make there. And maybe you're not there yet, but maybe you're really close. And you're really close without all of the drama and stress that comes from working in a place like that because you're also not driving a car and not having to buy corporate girly clothes and
Don't even. Don't even. Like, yeah, again, a whole other avenue I could go into. And also, just like figuring out your hourly rate gives, in case you're like totally lost,
yes,
just gives you this guideline. You don't have to then use that actual number or tell that number to anyone else. You can
you do
just
not.
yeah, you can just have this as your own reference number, as a post-it that I used to do this in my first years of business. I had a post-it on my monitor for when I was in client calls. I had this post-it said, "Do not go below X number," because I would be on the call and I would
Yes.
be really excited about the client, and then the client would ultimately say like, "Oh, but could we perhaps find a way to lower this?" And having that post-it note saved me, yeah, so many dollars.
So much money. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, and this is the work that we do, in because I need to know the data, I need to know what we're working with, and I need to know what motivates you and what do you actually care about, right? And so what I like to see is because typically folks come to me when they have a variety of offers. It's not just like one thing. There's
Mhm.
custom work for sure. And then
Yeah.
it's like, okay, this kind of package I've maybe defined in this package and whatever. And we start to look at, okay, well, each container that you offer, each service, each package, whatever you want to call it, what is the profitability of those containers? And
Mhm.
that way, when you're on a call with someone and they're kind of leaning toward one or over the other, you can start to do the quick math of, okay, well, do I have room in my schedule for this level of a profitable project or not? Because in service work, not everything has to be custom forever. Like, yes, there's still going to be aspect of custom work. I don't think that you're going to be able to get away with that, and I don't think that that should be a goal that you get away from
Yeah,
that.
custom
It is
work isn't necessarily bad.
no, I love
For
custom work.
business, I mean, for
I
business.
love custom work.
Yeah.
Custom work comes with custom price tags, and
Exactly.
big fan. Um, but sometimes we're in a season where it's like I've got to have some sustainability. I've got to have some predictability. And so you just begin to understand then when you start to market or pitch or go to a networking event, if you're wanting to pull out a certain offer from your wardrobe of offers, you understand how that's going to financially impact you. That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
It's just a decision.
And I think there's a big misconception that people in the creative industries, again, copywriters, designers, photographers, however you identify with,
Yeah.
um, because they're creative, they're not number inclined. And I think that if you're in the business of doing business,
Yeah.
you need to know your numbers. And I don't
Yeah.
mean like be good at math. Like I can't remember the
I'm
last time I
not.
had a math class. But know your absolute minimum. Know what a good month is. Like what is that number? Just having
Know your
guidelines.
average client value for the love. Know your average client value. That to me is one of my favorite metrics to understand. It's truly how many clients have you worked with in a given time? So the
Hmm.
last 12 months, the last 6 months, whatever, divided by how much top line revenue have you brought in. That's it. That identifies how much on average does a client spend with you.
And
Because
even
it
social media wise, like we get so bogged down by the likes and the comments. But
yes.
for example, I did this in Notion because I'm a freak like that, but you don't have to go
Yes.
this far. But I have a little table in my Notion where it pulls my posts from my Instagram and I can input like the likes numbers and no, sorry, the likes comments, like those little engagement
Yeah.
metrics. And then I also input the reach that it had, and so it gives me my engagement rate. Because the thing
Mhm.
is, if you have 20 likes, but only 20 people saw it, then
Right.
that was a great
That's
post.
100% engagement. Yep.
Exactly. So
Yep.
just being that aware of the numbers and how the math is working
Yes.
also does wonders for your confidence, let me tell you, because you look at a post and you think, I have 2,000 likes, I only got 20, I have 2,000 followers, I only got 20 likes. This was horrible. But those 2,000 followers didn't see your post. So, like, what
Yep.
do you mean? And the same
Yep.
goes with your offer. Like, I just got out this new offer. It's the very first time I'm talking about it, and only 10 people bought. Like, that's awesome. What do you mean?
Amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, especially in the service space of just like having 10 people buy anything, I would break a lot of people's systems because that's already like typically more than double what an average person can handle on a monthly basis for work. Now, when you systematize it and productize it, which is what I help you do, you can definitely handle more of those people.
Yeah.
But I think it's funny of just, we obviously are getting marketed to all the time by so many different brands and industries and niches and people who have different goals and whatever. And I honestly think service providers forget the math of it all of like,
Mm,
hey, if you just got like 2 more clients per month, like you would exponentially grow and like increase your revenue a pretty bonkers amount. And you're sitting
yeah.
over here worried, how can I get 20 people to hop on a call with me or convert this many people?
100%. Like you're sitting over there looking at other people's Thrive card screenshots, but those are for like a $47
Yes.
product when you're trying to sell something that's 3 or 4 digits. So like
Yep.
the math literally doesn't math that
Doesn't
way.
math. Yep, yep. I just made a thread today because it's people just forget to do this math where typically, people come to work with me when they're at consistent revenue, but it's not at the monthly revenue goal that they want,
Hmm.
right? And so I say, "Okay, where are you at? Where do you want to be? So what's the gap?" And then I'm like, "All right, how are you thinking that you're going to bridge that gap?" Well, I'm at capacity, which means I can't work with any more clients, and so I need to sell a digital offer. That's the best way. I'm like, "Okay, cool. So let's say your gap is 3 to 4K. If you have a $97 digital product, you need to sell that to 42 people every single month in order to bridge that gap. Or depending on the price of your services, you could work with one more person.
Yeah. Or you could just increase the price of your service. Cause like if you're at
There's a
capacity,
slew of levers
if
we
you're
can
at
pull.
capacity, just increase the price. Yeah,
Yes.
increase the
Yes.
price of the service, and then you have more time, more
Yep.
money, and
Yep.
more space for more clients. So like,
Yep. And there's a point in certain industries where if because I'm also assuming my clients come to me when they've done that. They've increased their prices. They've matured their audience. I think that this is a conversation a lot of people don't actually do. They think that they do, but they're not doing it. Where you have raised your prices, but your audience hasn't shifted. And so your conversion rate has dropped
Mhm.
drastically because the people who are in your audience are the the newer, lower budget folks. So when you increase your prices and your experience gets better, your results get better, the working with you gets better, the audience, the network also has to mature with your business maturity, and that tends to be a huge disconnect between, where when people are struggling. But some of my clients have gone through, and this is not everyone, but because the majority of my clients truly, like, haven't raised their rates in, like, 2.5 years, and I'm like, "What are we doing?
Why?
What are we doing?" But if we can even assume that you've raised your rates, maybe you've done it recently, then it is the conversation truly of like, "Okay, let's still do the math, though,
Mhm.
and how did you land the clients that you have right now? So can you go do more of whatever that was to get one more client?" And
And, like,
instead
can I just say, it doesn't have to be even social media related.
no,
Like, one of my biggest and fastest ways to get another client is, 1, email past clients asking, "Do you need more work?"
listen.
2, emailing those same past clients and saying, "Do you know anyone else like yourself?"
Yep,
And
yep,
typically, they at least know
they
one person,
they do.
and if
Yeah,
that one person doesn't convert, they might know someone else.
yep.
Like, cold pitching doesn't have to be cringe. I just
No,
wanted, like, that to be out there.
100%, and you guys know now that I love bringing people on who basically prove me right. Because when I'm hollering at y'all in our coaching calls or in our one-on-one sessions or inside the curriculum, and I'm saying this, I'm gonna say, "Hey, do you remember this podcast episode where I wasn't the only one saying?" But I have an entire reactivation campaign strategy inside of my core curriculum because it's exactly this, where your past clients, maybe they're not even active with you right now, could be re-engaged for a new container. Your active clients could be re-engaged in adding on something to their existing package, or they know someone who might want to work with you. And that is your warmest pile of people who could convert a lot faster.
No, literally the other day, again, in the sense of knowing your own numbers and data, I was looking, and this I don't do nearly as often as I should, but like it was a nice surprise. I was looking at my Google Analytics for my website, and I
Yeah.
figured that my fifth biggest source of traffic to my website was a client's website where I had my own website linked in the footer where it says like branded website done by.
Yeah.
That little link was my fifth yeah, source of traffic to
That's
my own website.
bonkers. So
It
you're
was
like,
one client.
"Dear client."
Absolutely. Hell, I
Um,
was. And now we have like a collaborative offer in the
yes.
works, and we like I used to do content design for her, and now like she stopped that, and now we're doing a static 9 grid so that she can have that and have peace of mind and not post content because
Yes.
she's at that point where she has literally so many clients that every time she posts content more people come in that she can't accommodate. So instead of posting more, we're just going to do a nice static 9 grid that sits there comfortably, and she'll just yap on stories whenever she wants to. And that's the strategy that works for her.
Exactly, exactly. Because guess what? Business gets to be custom. When you're designing your own, it gets to be custom, like, the fun of it. That's the point. That's the whole point. I feel like that's what this entire episode has been around. It's like, do you realize that's the point?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. 100%.
Okay, so looking ahead at 2026, which is right around the corner.
It's too near enough for my own comfort, but yeah.
Listen. What of the lessons of the last 6 years are you taking into 2026, and are you gonna be reworking any of your offers? Are you gonna be tapping into a new niche or industry? Are you gonna be repeating everything that's been working beautifully up until this point? What does the new year look like for you?
Yeah, I'm just going to go ham on talking about my signature offer.
Yes, you are.
And yeah, because I restructured it early this year, 2025. And it was really interesting for me how, after doing this work of restructuring the offer, I didn't realize all the internal work that I had to do to be comfortable talking about it again. And so, even though I knew the offer was so much better and looked uh, not just looked better, but served clients better, I
Yeah,
still found myself refraining from sharing about it because it was like, I'm not good enough for this new offer that I have. And it's bonkers to
I
even come to
see.
this conclusion. I realized that sometimes just talking about it, and I don't care if it's a story where you just type something out real quick, if it's a thread, if it's like low effort, or you just did the hugest marketing project and it was super
Mhm.
fun and creative to talk about it, literally just talking about it is the way to make a sale. I
Yes.
like it gets
Yes.
to be as simple or as complicated as you want. But basically, long story short, I had a custom design offer like so many other designers do for branding. It was literally called custom branding and strategy. And so you would come on, we would have a call, and we would figure out what your brand needs. I would design a brand identity for you. Depending on the collateral that you needed, the price would be different.
Mhm.
And I had add-ons, like you can add on a website or you can add on social media content. And because of this way that I was phrasing it as an add-on, a lot of people and clients chose not to include
Not
that
to.
add-on, which
Yep.
is fine. I literally gave that as an option. But that also meant that they viewed these things as an extra
As
when
unnecessary to the core.
exactly. And
Mhm.
I came to the conclusion, and it's like, you know these things, but until you're able to put them into words, they don't actually make sense in your brain. But a brand is only as strong as its implementation. And so I was literally doing a disservice to my own clients by allowing them not to do the extra quote unquote stuff.
How many times have I told you?
Yes. And so
Oh, I'm
what
so
I
proud of you for
did and
saying
the
that.
way that I changed this offer was actually really simple. I took all of the things that were add-ons previously and made them mandatory and part of a
Yes.
single project. And
Yes.
now this offer is just like the juiciest, most value-packed thing where I come in as not just a designer, or almost like I call myself a brand ringleader because my whole personal brand is very circus
Yes.
related and themed. But I come in, if you will, as your partner, and we look at your business together and we figure out how we can rebrand in this holistic, even though I don't really like that word, way.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
do the brand strategy and we talk about your audience and your positioning. We do the brand identity and the visual, like really fun part that I love doing as a designer.
Mhm.
And then I go in and we take that and we do your website too. And you do your newsletter template that you're going to send out every week and that your audience is going to gain that trust. We do your social media design templates as well. So when you're ready to launch that rebrand, you don't have to go in and do anything else. It's everything is done and implemented. You just have to keep going. And suddenly, instead of it being like so many other designers in the space do, of branding is 6,000 and then the
Mhm.
website is another 6,000, I
Mhm.
have it all together for 10K. And
Yep.
that's the
There
package.
you
And
go.
I don't do just the branding. I don't do just the website. If you want it, here's the package and that's it. And like just talking about this and why a 10K offer isn't necessarily an expensive offer, because if you're going to be hiring multiple designers, each
It's
for
all
its
gonna
own
add up.
individual thing, it's going to add up. They're not going to have the same style. So like just talking about this new offer, as you can see, is going to leave me very excited in
Yes.
2026.
I love that you went through that work, and it's the core conversation I have with my clients is, what is the result that you want your dreamy client to get? And is your scope and are your assets in alignment with them achieving that result? And if it isn't, then we need to adjust the scope and the assets, which will therefore change the price, which will change the timeline, which will change the messaging, which, it impacts everything. But it is a disservice to
Yeah.
your clients that you want to impact. And if you're bummed about the results you're getting, if there's a disconnect between your clients implementing or not, the work that you are putting together behind the scenes, then it is your job to figure out, why is it
Oh my
disconnected?
God, 100%. And I literally came now, yeah, to this new conclusion that if clients are hiring me because I'm an expert in a different area than they
Mhm.
are,
Yes.
then how come am I making them choose the deliverables that are going to go to their goals? Like,
Yep.
they don't know. It's not
They don't
their
know.
job to know.
It's
I'm
yours.
there to advise them. So if I think that the best way towards their goal is by having all of these things together, then why am I offering them separate? It makes no
Yes.
sense.
Yes. Yes. This is what I wrote a whole it was a podcast or a email, I can't remember, but it was something like your clients love being told what to do. Just like you love being told what to do when you
Yeah.
want to hire an expert and
Like,
you're
can you
expecting that.
imagine if your accountant were to tell you or like ask you, like, just pick and choose which taxes you want to pay? Like, it
What do
doesn't
you want?
work that way.
No, no. What do you want? And I talked this through with a because it could be different for different industries. I actually talked it through in a voice note. Someone reached out. She's a stylist, like a clothing stylist.
But
And oh, it was a podcast episode I had done because she was like, I listened to the podcast and I have some questions because I said you need to tell your clients what to do. Um, if they are hiring you as the expert, and part of that is they don't want to make decisions. They want
mm,
you to guide them and you to advise them. And that comes out not just in the offers that we're presenting them, but also in meetings with them, in check ins with them. It's how we present ourselves, present our ideas, present the plan. There's a level of like, this is what we're doing if we want this result versus what do you think about this?
yeah, yeah.
Those are different experiences, right? And so she was saying, well, for her instance, she comes in person and she'll go through, your clothes and help you pare down your wardrobe and select and keep pieces and whatever. But she's very cautious about like, well, I don't want to get rid of things that, are memorable for them
Yeah,
or
or
they do want to
sentimental.
keep. Exactly. And so we brainstormed, okay, well, here's a way that you could ask in the onboarding form, what level of decision making do they want you to have? Like, I am someone, if I hired her, I don't want to, there's not a sentimental piece in that closet that I wouldn't mind getting rid of. I want you to come in, I want you to work your magic, and I want you to tell me, why does my closet look like it does now? I don't need to be a part of any of the decision. But not everyone is like that. It's like, so you'll get the feel, like create kind of a rating system on your onboarding form about, how do you want the experience to go when I'm in your home and we're going through your clothes? And ask them how much of a
I
partner do
love
they want to
this.
be. And she was like, "Oh my gosh," because then you know, and you get to show up for that client how they wanna be.
I love this so much because, like, I'm sitting here as a brand designer, and my instant thought was, and you can make that literally the key piece, the key differentiator of your own brand, and be as plain, like, in copy for that service, you can go
Yes.
as plainly as, "I'm the stylist who's not going to tell you what to do nor what not to do."
Yep,
And that's it.
yep,
That's the differentiator. That's the reason why people hire you, because if they want not to make decisions, you're there. If they want to make all the decisions, you're there too. And that's the key thing that's going to make them relate to you.
yep, yep.
I'm in awe.
And so yeah, that's it. Boom, boom, done. I want you all I think my whole point of this, I feel like, lovely ranty episode where we both yelled at you.
So sorry, not sorry.
Not sorry, that's what they're here for. Go through your own business and really put in the filters in place. We've talked about a lot of things today about your own expectations of growth and revenue, about are you accidentally mirroring big corporations in your own business when that's not what you're after, and how to truly structure custom work in a way that's going to serve both you and your client. I think that there's a lot of juiciness here. So I love that. I think we covered a bunch and I'm so happy that you came on and we got to nerd out about all of the things. Now, if those folks who are listening want
Mhm.
to dig into more of what you're offering and even maybe check out that big package that you've got available and that you're
Yeah.
going to be talking about nonstop in 2026, where can they go do that?
Yeah, so I'm at Flying Colors Creative on all of the places. The big juicy offer is called the Extravaganza because you literally cannot get
Yes.
more circus themed than that. And just come and chat on Instagram because that's where I'm most active right now. So you can just do that.
Perfect. Thank you so much for coming on today. This was amazing. I loved getting to chat and rant about this industry that I love so very much.
Yeah, no, this was a blast and we'll have to do it again.
Yes, definitely.
Hey,
Hey, thank you so much for listening to this episode of Sell the Damn Service. I'm really honored that you spent however many minutes you just did with me. Now, if you could go do me a very quick favor and be sure to like, subscribe, leave a rating and a review for this podcast over on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, or, pick your favorite platform. I'm not going to be that choosy. It truly means the world to me. It's how little tiny shows that are like mine, that are self-funded and, being edited in between dinner time and school pickup, it helps us get seen. It's free for you to do and takes just a couple of minutes. And I would love you forever. If I could send you an edible arrangement as a big thank you, I would. So instead, consider this giant thank you directed just at you for going to do that. And share this episode or this podcast with a friend who needs to hear it. I love ranting and raving about service-based business strategies. And, I think more people should listen to this show, honestly. So I appreciate you. Thank you so much. I really, really, really am grateful that you're here, and we will chat very soon.